Hi, here we will try to create a basic pivot table. A pivot table can be created by different sources or ranges, and now we will start creating from this sales transactions table by going to the Insert tab from our ribbon, and then in the left side you have the mini tab named Tables, from where we can insert a pivot table. I'm going to click this icon and we have a pop-up with a Create Pivot Table window. In this window, in the first tab, we have the possibility to select a table or a range for our pivot tables. In our case, we have a data range which is automatically selected, and also in the future videos we will see that we can use an external data source. But for the moment, let's create a basic pivot table. We will keep all these information because, as you can see, we have already checked that our source is correct, and then we will go below on the choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. So with other words, you have the possibility to create the pivot table into a new worksheet, or you have the possibility to create the pivot table into an existing worksheet, meaning that we can choose to create the pivot table here, or we can choose to put the pivot table into a new worksheet like Excel asks us. Now I will select again the range because I have changed by mistake, and now I'm going to select this new worksheet and press OK in order to create a new sheet with a pivot table template. And here we go, we have pivot table, and now we can play with those pivot table fields that can be found into the pivot table fields window on the right side. Mainly, we want to see all the transactions, the sales transactions from all the countries by the salesperson level in every city. That can be a little bit harder to create from start a basic pivot table, but it's important to know that you can add as many rows as you need. So Excel pivot table, it's always very flexible in this point of view. So for the start, we will try to create a simple pivot table. So I will add the customer country into the rows area, and here we go, we have all the countries. Then I will add a new row into our rows area. So customer city is the second option from our rows. I want to see the turnover, so the total sales value, into the values area, and then I'm gonna choose the salesperson and put it down at the last level, let's say, from where we can see the details of our sales transactions. Analyze tab gives us the possibility to change the data source of our pivot table. So if you want to add data and then you need to update the report, you can do it into this mini tab. We can refresh the pivot table, so this is the case when you also update your database, then we can give a name to our pivot tables, and also on the pivot table to the top left we have some options for our pivot table. Then we can make some actions to move a pivot table from one sheet to another. Then we can select different values from those area, or we simply clear the informations. On the design tab we can play with the layout forms, so we can use the outline form or tabular form, or also the compact form. Let's try to see how will change. So tabular will bring another 2 columns for each option from the rows list. I used to exclude the subtotal when I work with, let's say, basic information. So right click and uncheck the subtotal. So here we go, we have the first sales report for our salesperson given by customer city, or let's say customer country. In the design tab we have also some, let's say, pivot table style options in order to banded columns or banded row, so that will color one row and then we'll step on the next one without color it, and that's it. And then we can talk about the format of a pivot table. So we have the pivot table styles.